Good morning again. It says when 2 or 3 are gathered, I am there. Yes, so the others will catch the bus moving. I'd like to thank the Lord for the opportunity to be here and to share what the Lord impressed upon me. And I pray that whatever I've shared with you was worthwhile and that it will help you in your choices, or it will help you in starting, or those who have started, and to reinforce. Because even when I'm here, don't think I'm just speaking. These words are bouncing back to me, and sometimes they are heavy because you go in retrospect and you check, is it really what you're saying? Is it really what's happening in your home? Huh? Because even Elijah, after the mountaintop experience, what did he do? He ran and said, I'm not worthy. So that's my situation as well. But we thank God because he stands like when he stood with, is it Zechariah the prophet? When Satan says, he's in filthy rags, this one, he's mine. And God says, the Lord rebuke you, Satan. Remove these filthy rags and give him a white raiment. So even when we feel like we are inadequate, God is saying we are at the right path. Amen. So in this way, in this road, the devil will always say to you, you're not doing right. Even when you're putting all your effort, you're not there yet. But let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. Okay, I think we are running behind time, so we're not going to recap. I'm going to ask us that we open the book of Proverbs, Proverbs 2 verse 6, and then we move to Luke. Proverbs 2 verse 6. Those who have it, please read it for us. Giveth wisdom, God, out of his mouth cometh knowledge. So let us not forget that we need to consult God whenever we find ourselves confused. We go to God, who is the knowledge of wisdom, and who is the source of wisdom and knowledge. Okay, let's read Luke 2 verse Luke chapter 2 verse 40 and verse 52. Let's look into that. Luke 2, 40 and 52.
Strong in spirit, filled with wisdom and grace, and the grace of God was upon him. Now his parents went to Jerusalem every year at the feast of the Passover.
52. Yes.
And Jesus increased in wisdom and stature and in favor with God and men.
Amen. Thank you so much. So we are learning here how Christ grew. He grew and worked strong in spirit. That's the spiritual, filled with wisdom. There is the intellect. And the what? And the grace of God was upon him. So even in verse 52, he grew in stature physically, and that's when he was now after the youth, because the chapter 2, it talks about when Christ was 12, then he went to the Passover. Then when they returned to Nazareth after the Passover, after he got lost for 3 days, so he came back and he kept his mother saying in his word, in his heart, and then he increased. He went on to increase and grew more in spirit, in stature, physically, and he grew in what? Wisdom, intellect, and he grew in favor with God spiritually and in favor with men socially. So as we teach our children, they need to what as well? Grow. And we do that in a balanced way. We call that symmetry. Okay? So it must harmonize. We don't want to grow children who know how to code verses, but they don't know how to apply those verses. Have you seen that in our churches? Huh? They can go there and they quote and memorize and sing, but we also like that as parents, no? We are professors of the word, but we are empty. Okay, so we need to balance everything. All right. So we thank God for these verses. We've already touched on where shall we teach. We know in the home. Who should teach? It's our parents. They must qualify themselves. When shall we teach? We are busy with that. Now we finished on the 8 to 10. And we may not really touch on how shall we teach. It's the practical part, which is it needs more time. But I will see how I can give some pointers. And then we'll try to do character building just in a bit more understanding how we should teach character building, probably tomorrow. So today we are, when shall we teach? We talked about practical skills. What are some of the practical skills that we can teach our children? Well, it goes with levels, right? You start by giving them what they can do easily, and they grow, and you give them the skills that require more strength, okay? So there are future suggestions that I can give, but we can add more, all right? So those are, you can have art courses, art, the fine skills, drawing, the painting, you can name them sculpting, those that are on the artistic side. They're just put here in alphabetical order. It's just random. Bookkeeping and accounting, that's important, right? Business studies, that I could say, because you may start home industries but not be able to account for the money that come in and come out. So that is a skill that we must teach our children. Carpentry, we sit on chairs, we have cupboards, the wardrobes where we put the clothes, tables. You see where we are going now. We are moving to plastic. But there are the trees, there are many. So we need to teach them carpentry. It's healthy for not only for that, for building as well. You can build houses. Computer, let us not think behind it. Yes, they must be taught, basic computer skills. If they can do programming, they can do that, and so that they can do websites for all these home schools and home industries, because we need to market our businesses. So that's the word today. The world is using technology. So we need to be careful, of course, how much we expose them. But it's necessary. Cooking, electricity or electrical, gardening, it can be a skill, it can be a business. Knitting, merchants, they say mechanics. Mechanics is, we can buy cars here, right? Yes, so we need a skill. They need to be skilled in fixing these cars, because we can't be changing cars every now and then. We need to know how to keep them going for long. Office procedures, so office work, they need to know that. plumbing, printing. Um, Sister White says we should have publishing houses, printing presses. We need books, right? We are crying foul because we want books, we don't find them, especially by African writers. Yo, all the books we have are from Europe and USA, and they tell us about their lives there, and you think it's not relative or relevant to us. You know, they tell us about the snow, and you're like, Tina, it's hot the whole year, and it's cold just a little bit. So we need books that are relevant. So printing skills, quilting, sewing, and typing, and many more that you can think of. So just expose your students to as many practical skills as possible, okay? Under your guidance or under a Christian you trust with your students, all right? If you don't have that skill, then go and get someone to do it. So today we're moving to milestone 5, 15 to 18 years, the high school education. Look, it can be even before 18. It might be 15 to 17 or whatever. Or it may be even 19, based on how your child grasps. So the high school education, I'd like us to go to Child Guidance, page 483. It says, we know not in what line our children may be called to serve. They may spend their lives within the circle of the home. They may engage in life's common vocations, or go as teachers of the gospel to heathen lands. But all are alike called to be missionaries for God, ministers of mercy to the world. They are to obtain an education to help them stand by the side of Christ in unselfish service. So whatever our children, it says we don't know in what line they may be called to serve. They may. So we guide them and they would choose for themselves. All right. So we need to help them, guide them with the education from when they were young up until this time. We need to teach them to choose a career or a livelihood or a vocation. Sorry, where they will serve as ministers of mercy to the world and stand by the side of Christ in unselfish service. So with true education, this is a goal. You have branches. It's either they will go and do vocational or practical skills, vocational skills, which is you find in the TVET schools. Ne? So it's those skills that are labor intensive, like your mechanics, your civils, engineer, carpentry, whatever that way. Or they may do sustainable industries, whether it's home industries, or they will find a place. So they would do that. So it's more like having a business. Or they go and do missionary work. They go do medical missionary or foreign missionaries, whatever the case may be. Then we've got that gray area where parents are in conflict. They would think, no, I want my child to have a professional career. It's a very gray area. So in terms of that, parents must decide. There are ways, but it's a gray area, and it is not really the path that is much recommended, because we may lose the child to the what? To the world. But some may think we want to send them so that they can come back, but others normally they don't what? They don't come back. I think you gave us an example of those nurses that went and they never came back, you see. So you need to meet the world standards when you take your child through a professional route. We know that, ne? Yeah. Because there's much accreditation, and They have a set curriculum. They have put it in their own way. So meaning that our children must follow that curricular route. So if they, like at the moment in the schools, they learn evolution. I don't know here. Do they? The same, ne? Learn evolution. And now with Agenda 2030, the United Nations is trying to make the world the same. So they are teaching the sexual education becomes what? Compulsory in the what? In the schools. And we know that it has a way, a place in true education where we know how we should teach it. But they are explicit about it. There's books that are out where it's very explicit, and children are taught this immoral behavior at an early age. So we need to know what we expose our children to, okay? Especially at the lower ages. So now, you will be required to go through a professional route. If you want to go a professional route, you must meet the standards. You have the National Senior Certificate, right? Yes, Form 1, Form 4. Yes, you must meet that. So meaning you have to write those exams. You must sit there and do those exams and follow that curriculum. So meaning you'll have those two curriculum to deal with, the true education one and the what? And then the local one. Otherwise, you can take them through the GED, General Education Development. This is for US and Canada, is internationally recognized, but it also goes through the four, I'm trying to think, it's maths, it's science, it's English, I think it's social science. So still you will find the evolution there, and they would go through the social science, the European history and stuff like that. So, but it is internationally recognized. Then you may go through independent national or international examination or certification boards. In South Africa, we have what we call Independent Examination Board, and it's international and national. Then you've got the one for UK, which is Independent School Examination. Then you've got the Cambridge, that thing. So you still need to go through those that trouble. So I'm trying to show you that it's not as easy as that. So if you choose this route, you must know that if you come back here, there may be things that you need to adhere to. So you can check your country with which international boards are accepted. But if we have the schools, think about it. If we have the schools, we can open the schools of the prophets. If we can open the vocational schools, do we need the world? You see? So we need to create these schools. It's very important. God saw that there was a need during the time of Samuel, and he says, let him build the schools of the prophets, one in Ramah and the other in another place. There were two schools at that time to educate the youth. Okay, so we need also do that. There's nothing new under the sun. So we follow the same cycle. We do homeschooling, and if the parents are not willing to cooperate with God in their home to teach them until the end, there must be the schools that bridge the gap. Okay. So what do we teach the 16 to the 19-year-olds, 15 or 16? Okay. We still do Bible and character studies. Very important. Bible is the main textbook. So they do a Bible and character studies. In this case, we go deeper with our character building. We understand what is obedience, how God wants us to be obedient. If you have to spend a whole month talking about obedience, looking at the Bible, looking from nature, looking from life experiences, looking from history, looking from anything, how we have to learn obedience, self-control, respect. They continue doing the chores and they continue doing the gardening. And now, and they do though academic skills and your language, your maths, all sciences, including chemistry, social sciences, voice and music. Those are your academic studies. I don't know if I went faster. So it's language, it's maths, it's all sciences, natural science, life science, physical science, chemistry. You can even add technology there, however you want to. Then social sciences, which is your history, geography, and prophecy. So when you do your social sciences, you need to link it to what? To the prophecy. Okay? Never leave out prophecy. Because, for instance, when you learn about America, you need to learn the prophetic message for now. Okay? So you will start with maybe the great controversy and then come up until the end and link everything with the prophecy and the history and the geographical position where these things are happening. And now you start with the apprenticeship skills. The apprenticeship skills, which is your practical skills, we talked about them. So you're now getting more serious, all right? Buying those material, either you do it at home or now you take them out to the an apprentice. Yes, then mission training, you start now missionary training, okay? Be it medical missionary, that's where you start, or foreign mission where they will serve outside the home. Then home industries, that's when you start to do. Now you start, I think the Mandulas have started already. Huh? Yes, we thank God they have started. They're making soaps, they're making lotions. So that's where you start. You start with a little bit, then you grow your business. So we need to start those home industries. So with your academics and with your practical skills, you need to know that 1 hour of labor is equivalent to 1 hour of mental work. I was trying to look for that quotation. If you have it, please help me. So you need to balance. Okay, if you do 2 hours of schoolwork, you must do 2 hours of practical work. Do you understand each other? Because now you leave the brain in balance. Now it becomes more academic. So this is the trap. Let us make sure we don't fall into the trap. We default to how we were taught. Then you spend more being academic. No, look at the children. Even if they want to continue, just tell them, no, we'll continue. Now we need to do the handwork because you balance. Okay, so that's our 16 to 19. I said 16. Eh? Then we have the milestone for the 20 plus years. So now they are fully into apprenticeship, those ones. So they have passed the high school stage. They've done they have completed all the academic studies. They know the language, how to compose, how to write a book, or whatever. So now if they want to do publishing, for instance, they must be ready to be able to write a book and go and publish it. You understand? So this is the best education we can give our children to prepare them for a livelihood. It can be that from this time 20, they are now having a skill if you had done it properly or done it on time. But if not, then you need to make sure that at this age now they get more educated and have that livelihood, because you will not be in their lives forever. And they also will tell you, I'm now old. But if they are old but they are not ready to go and be by themselves, we are in trouble. Okay, so At this time, they need to spend more time apprenticeship, being under an apprentice and learning. We've talked about those skills. You can choose more with your child. Your child can tell you, this is what I want. Then you go and take them there. Now, I would like us to, I think we've come to the end of all these ages. Then follows marriage and getting out of the house. You see, yes. But in that process, when you teach them, you have to teach them how to choose a partner. They need to go and learn and read the book, Messages to Young People. You prepare them. There's a publication by Brother Standish. I think both of them, they wrote how to prepare your teenager for adulthood. I'll share that one. So it says that we need to prepare them to make 4 steps. Let me try and get it so that I go in that order. Okay, I don't find it quickly. So you teach them to choose a career. That's the one thing that you need to do. You need to teach them how to choose a partner. And you need to teach them how to embrace bringing life into the world. Maybe them having what? Having babies. Okay, there we go. I got it. Okay, there we go. Says God has called parents to prepare their teenagers to successfully make the 4 biggest decisions of their lives. Number 1 is the decision for Christ. We talked about that we need to make children what? Christians, yes. And we need to prepare them for a life calling. Okay, they need to know their life calling and to sustain that calling. All right? They need to be prepared to make the choice of a life partner. Okay? Because sometimes we just leave it to yes, nature says, I will see. But they need to be told what is it that they need to look in a partner. If you are living this life, look for someone who will sustain your life. Imagine now having learned about true education, being educated on true education, and you meet a wife or a husband who does not agree with those teachings. And you are like Samson, who says, he pleases me well. But you don't look at the repercussions. So also the decision to initiate a new life. So these are good decisions. It's a very good document. I will send it. It says that the decision starts in infancy. So you build up from their infancy. Firstly, they look at you as parents. You are the first people they look at to emulate what they need to be in their adulthood. So may God help us as we prepare our children step by step, each stage and by stage. Is there any question maybe before I continue? I want to go through another point. Is there anything, a question? Yes, my brother?
My question is on the last age group that you presented, I guess the late teens to 20. If I got you correctly, and maybe I might be corrected, this is more or less the time that you are now talking about the sort of life calling and where they will go, and maybe they're also choosing their sort of careers also. And that's when you are now putting them under that apprenticeship. I wanted to ask that, and this might sound somewhat, but is this their decision to make, as in that they're the ones choosing what they want at this point? So they'll tell you, I want to be this or I want to be that, and then you mentor them towards that line of work that they've chosen? Is that, or you're the one sort of, maybe you've looked at their talents and you've looked at what they're interested in and you sort of show them the way that this is what, oh, I don't know if the question makes sense. Okay.
Maybe others can add. Look, it's two ways. I think it's a partnership. You know your child better, the skills that they have, where they've excelled in their lives. And also the child has got their aspirations, they've got their needs, their wishes. God is a God who does not force himself on us and allows us to make those choices and meet the consequences of each choice that you make in life. Okay, so you need to speak with your child and show them, if they say they want to do 1, 2, 3, show them the pitfalls. If you go this route, this is what's going to happen. These are the possibilities. These are the advantages and the disadvantages. You can present your own. I think you are best at cooking. You can do 1, 2, 3. Then you can decide, maybe you say, okay, we'll fuse. I will do what I want and I'll do what you want. Then life goes on. Okay. Or they can say, refuse your offer and say, I want to do this one. So you will have to pray about it. And then we don't force our wishes. How many times have parents wanted to be doctors and they were not doctors, or accountants, and they tell their children, you are going to be an accountant. We want to live our dreams in our children. Is that right? You failed to be a doctor or whatever, and now you want to do it in your children. I've got an uncle. He wanted everyone to be an accountant. When I finished, he would say, you're going to be an accountant. I was going to be an accountant because he said, yeah, it pays well. It does this. You're going to be an accountant. Then he said to his children, all of his children, they did accounting. Yeah. But they abandoned the career. My cousin brother, now he's into IT. Because they did it to please the what? The father. Okay. Then I also had to think, do I really want to do accounting? Yes, they say it pays well, but do I really want it? You see? So I had to follow also what I wanted. So let us not do that. Let us not live our dreams in our children's lives. Does it make sense? Yeah, but it's a partnership. We work together. Okay. I want to do is there anyone who has a question? Okay, let's hear from the children. I think who has a question? Okay, then we're gonna come to the children. I want you to think, what is it that you want to do when you grow up? What do you want to be? Hey, I want to hear stories. You have children, just think and tell us what you want to do when you grow up. I'm gonna go one by one.
Okay, thank you. Mine is not a question. I just want to throw in a quotation, maybe also to add on the flesh on the question. It's coming from the chapter 31, the life work in the book Education. So it's entitled Life Work. It reads, it says we need to follow more closely God's plan of life, to do our best in the work that lies nearest, to commit our ways to God, and to watch for the indications of His providence. These are the rules that ensure safe guidance in the choice of an occupation. So what it means, maybe for us, it's just the thought, what do you want to do when you grow up? And we had our aspirations to say we want to do this. But now as we have learnt it to say, it is God who decides for us what we are to do. Our duty is to follow his directions as directed in this quotation. It is saying these are the rules, the safest rules that can guide a child or a person to what he is to do in life. That's to choose an occupation. If you realize that, I don't know here in Malawi, but I know there in Zim, many people have studied quite a lot and they've got their degrees and what. But what they are doing for a living is something else different. Yeah, generally most of the people there, and even the people who are making it in life, if you ask them what they've done, they've a degree in this, but what has made them to be successful is something else. And we are told that it's not all our best intentions are God's plans. I may think I want to do this and this is the right thing, but we have to teach our children to depend upon God, for God to decide what he or she is to do in life. But the principle we learn from the Bible, as a child comes out of the parent's home, he or she should have at least one trade that she is able to survive on. Then she can add other things. Unfortunately, we are teaching our children to go and hunt out there and find something new which they are going to look for and they will not make a living. But if we have prepared them to make a living whilst they are in our home, when they go out already, they are not failures. But we have produced failures because they have to hunt for themselves, venture into new grounds where they are not experienced about. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. We have made a pact with the boys. We told them that they are free to do whatever they want to do, well, under guidance. But they are going to do what we think they must do to earn a livelihood. So that when we send them out there, we know that they have a skill that they can survive on. That's what my brother said. And we've been looking, we've seen that this one is good with carpentry and this one, but they may not think that they are good at it. And they would want to do something else. But thank you for that point. So make sure that before they can do what they think is best, lay the foundation or give them the basic yes, at least that skill and a home industry, a business idea that they can do. If they have to do packaged molasses or something, let them have that little business that they do. So that when you are not there, they know if the world disappoints them, they know where to fall back on. Does it make sense? Okay, so for about 5 minutes, I want to hear. I'm going to start. Nomsa, what do you want to do or be when you grow up? Do you know? Okay.
I want to be a doctor.
You want to be a doctor? Okay, parents, you're listening, ne? Okay.
I like to be a chef.
A chef. Okay.
Me, I want to do a doctor and a chef too.
Ooh, yeah, the sky is the limit. Okay, we come to Daniel. Daniel, what do you want to be when you grow up?
I want to be a pilot.
Oh, wants to be a pilot. We know there's, I'm coming, Dr. David Gates, Pastor David Gates. He's a missionary pilot, okay?
I want to be a mental surgeonist.
A what?
A surgeonist.
Surgeon. Okay, surgeon. Okay.
I want to be a pilot and a businesswoman.
A businesswoman and a pilot. Hey, what do you want to be when you grow up?
A pilot.
A pilot. Hey, we must open an aviation school here. Even my son once says, I want to do aviation. What? Okay, let's come.
I want to be a doctor.
You want to be a doctor?
I want to be an engineer.
You want to be an engineer. Which engineer? Do you know which engineer you want to be?
Uh, of the construction site.
Construction site. Okay, they're looking up to us. Ne? Apprenticeship already.
I want to be a pastor.
Amen.
I want to be a doctor.
You want to be hey, yeah. Brother Clemens, you have students, many students. Yes?
I want to be a medical missionary.
Oh, medical.
Be a doctor.
You want to be a doctor?
I want to be a medical missionary.
Oh, okay. Hey, there are many, man.
I want to be a medical missionary.
Yes.
I want to be a builder.
Do you know that quotation that says we need to go to rural places? God wants financiers, builders, all those things to settle in the waste places. All this. So, all those who want to be medical missionaries, there is your teacher. Those who want to be engineers, there is your teacher. Okay? Then we need to open an aviation school for the pilot. I missed. What does he want to be when he grows up? Okay, so it's very interesting to see what children really want to be, and versus what we think we want them to be. So we work together as a partnership. Okay, yeah. So at the end is what you think is best, and give them the best, and then the sky is the limit for them. Okay, that's my brother.
I just have a quick comment. If you observe the choices that are usually made, they usually revolve around the most popular or the most mentioned careers. Doctor, because doctor, all of us get sick, we get pricked, we go there. So doctor is very famous. If you notice, engineer is just one because people don't understand what engineers do, who are they, and all that stuff. So the issue is, I just want to say, as we teach our students, as we teach our young people, may we learn to just expose them to the world out there. So go through. These are nurses. What do nurses do? This is what they do. So let the child now just have that exposure. I have seen that even other schools like Bishop Mackenzie, they would actually take the student to the actual place. That you want to be an engineer, okay? So in secondary school, I remember I had one student who came to my office for 1 week. They called it industry experience. This child was in secondary school, but I had to, some kind of apprenticeship with me in the office for 1 week, just for them to know this is the site. This is what they go through in terms of design. So just for the child to make a decision. Do you really want to be an engineer? Because there are some of these things that you think you want to be an engineer, but then you go through it and you're like, you know what? I don't think I knew what I was saying. So I think let's not block the aspirations the children have, whether they want to be doctors, nurses, builders, whatever it is. But I just want to appeal that we give the children a chance to be exposed to as many professions are there out there, or skills that are there out there, just so they should be informed. And whatever decision they will make, it will be an informed decision. So the partnership issue comes into play.
Thank you so much. Okay, so we see that the apprentice work starts when they're young. You build. Start by making them to knit jerseys. Okay, and because we and sew some skirts and whatever and trousers. They can. Some people would say, I want to make it a profession. They would open a clothes shop. Okay, I told you I grew up. My mother was a dressmaker, but I never chose that career because I thought I want something else. But now that I'm doing true education, I realize it's something I needed to do. Okay, so now I'm still struggling because I did not develop the skill. Okay, you see this dress, I made it. Yes, So it's a combination of, okay, this one was bought, but it was not appropriate. So I had to go buy the material and cut and then put it together. You see, I'm still struggling. I had to even call my mother, please help me, so she finished it off, because it's a skill that I never groomed, I never developed. But had I done that, it can be a what? A livelihood. You see, so teach children from early age. In our schools, we used to learn how to sew, how to knit. I know they don't do that these days, ne? Especially there where we are. I'm not sure here. So we learn to knit, we learn to sew, and we learn to crochet. So when I taught my children how to do that, the first time I held the crocheting pin, it was like I'm back in that class, because I was taught when the mind was still what? Fresh. So I remembered everything. When we did the apron, I said to them, we are doing the running stitch and we're doing the back stitch. I remembered where? In the class, I was doing standard 4, standard 3, standard 4. But those impressions, they are still alive. So teach them, expose them as early as possible to anything and everything, okay? So that when they are old, they have so much to choose from, okay? So we are about to finish. Oh, the other thing that Brother Martin talked about is the field trips. Is the what? The field trips, where we take children to places. For instance, when you do botany, you learn about trees and you learn about which is the best field trip you can go to. Mommy, when you've learned about trees and plants, which is the best place you can go to take the children to see everything? Yes, the forest or a botanical garden. Yeah? Who has been to a botanical garden? Yes. And it's nice because the trees are labeled. Then there's history about the tree and stuff like that. So you can meet the botanists there. They could tell you what they learn about, or what do they do, how do they take off trees. And children would say, I think I want to take this profession, right? Or when you've learned about animals, then you go to the zoological garden. Please come. Pretoria is the biggest in Africa. The Pretoria Zoo, very nice. It's very big, and it's teamed up with the botanical garden, so there's also trees in there, so you do everything at once. So it's a very good field trip, ne? Going to South Africa, ne? Yeah, they are going to another country. So they learn, I want to be a foreign missionary. I want to work here in South Africa. So you expose them. So field trips are very important. If you want them to do engineering, take them to the engineering places, industries, this and that. But the important thing I want to come to, the costs. Everything that we talked about requires what? Money. So before we really do that, do a budget. Look at how much you will need, the resources. You need a printer. That's what you need in the homeschool. You need a what? It's very important. You need a computer. That's important. If you don't go that route, then it means you need to buy everything. They will print for you. You will do the what? Buy the books, buy the printed curricula. Sister Mandula can tell you how much it costs. She's got a library. I also have books. I don't even know where to put them sometimes because we accumulate a lot. Okay. One thing I don't know here in Malawi, but there are people who no longer need books, so there are pawn shops. You know a pawn shop? Yes. So they would just send those books because now the books are many in the house. The children have grown. They don't need it, so they send to the pawn shop. So you find that you can buy a book 5 rands, 10 rands. So make use of those places, okay? Instead of maybe buying a new book. And going there, you'll be exposed to as many books, okay? But then you'll have an opportunity to open and see, is this right or not? So make use of those pawn shops. So you need tools. If you want to teach carpentry, you need to have your welding, your circular saw, you need a drill, you need a grinder, you need chisels, you need this, you need that. They cost money, don't they? So you need to know, okay, if I want to expose them to a carpentry, these are the tools I need. And I need timber, I need the bench where they would work. With us, we have exposed them to carpentry. They've done the table, they've done a box, they're still growing in it. And they've been exposed to mechanics, and they've been fixing the car with their father, changing tires, changing brake fluids, instead of taking the car to the to where they do the service the car with your children. Let them see those plugs when you change them, when you change the oil. Some others will be interested in that. My husband had an accident, so they had to install an arm, control arm. So they were there to see and witness how this is done. So homeschooling exposes us, our children, to that. So you need the tools. There's a lot. Maybe others can add what else we need. But as you grow, make a budget and ask God to help you to be able to finance it. But as it was cancelled, make sure that you are able to fund it. It's more like your private school, homeschooling. It's more like your what? It's equivalent. When I was sitting down, I was like, it's easy for me to take my child to public school because the government is funding it. But with this one, it's an investment. You have to prepare. So the sooner you do, the better.
Sorry, I have a lot of questions. My kids are 3 and 1, and we're literally at the starting point. I was listening to all the kids go and mention their careers, what they want. And the thing that I was asking myself is, I need help with is most of the careers that they mentioned, aviation, medicine, and other things, they require, at least from my understanding, formal training and probably accreditation and other things. I just want to understand how that fits in within the homeschool, because, like, for example, I think it ties back to the first question that I had, that if we're to sort of guide them, or if they're choosing for themselves, from the start, like for me, my child is 3. Obviously, he can't tell me clearly what he wants to become. And, if I have a mindset that maybe he's going to want to become a pilot, maybe he will want to be a medical doctor, shouldn't that guide the type of curriculums that I expose him to, that I use? Just thinking that if he's going to need to go into a formal university, for example, shouldn't that curriculum that I choose be something that will allow him to take that path? And at that point, things like high school certificates and all that, where does that?
Okay, yes. I think when I was at 16 to 19, that's why I mentioned the issue of professional career, because that's the time where we sit and decide with the children and understand where they want to go. And if they want to do engineering, yes, we don't have the skills or the many people who can really do that. Maybe Mr. Mandula can say, okay, architectural, Yeah, so you're on the architectural side, right? Yes. So he is qualified in that. So the child can go to, unless you say you want them to have a certificate. You understand? So, but if ever there's someone who can do it, then you can go that route. But if ever then there is no one who can do that, and you and your child has talked up, you want to go to, maybe the child wants to do civil engineering. Well, meaning that you have to now tune the child to follow the accreditation route. Okay. So the best way that I think you can do is that you can still follow a curriculum in the home and not with the child not going out of school and then do the books there. But as I said, we all already know what the ideal is. Expose the child to trades and for them to have a livelihood. Because if that's the option that you want to take will be able to help the child make a livelihood and not to go and work outside and advance the world. Do you understand what I'm saying? Make sure that skill, that even if they go and get it outside. Sister White has advised, I think when you read the book, The Broken Blueprint, there was a time when it says, let them go and get the skill and then come back and then be able to use it within our circles. So if they are going out to be able to have a livelihood, especially your technical skills, your vocation skills, you can be taken to that TVET school. And if ever you don't find anyone around who can be able to do that. But unfortunately, with that route, you need to go and seek accreditation. That's the point that you need to know. Okay.
I think, let me add this point. As parents, sometimes we panic over things we shouldn't be panicking about. Between 0 and 15, honestly, those are just foundational lessons. There are people who have spent that time in the bush heading cattle. Okay? And after that, then that's when they started their formal education. They did it for a little while. They caught up very quickly. And some of them, by the time they were in their 20s, they're probably even in colleges. Now they talk about their experiences that, you know what, for the first years of my life, I didn't have, the best background. What I'm simply trying to say is this. There is a misconception that when we talk about homeschooling and the true education, somehow the child is lacking compared to the one that is going there in the public school. Beloved, the true education, as she's rightly said, the amount of material you have to teach that child, you're teaching them character, you're teaching them the physical education, you're teaching them the spiritual education. They are well-rounded. And their testimonies, is unfortunate that, the world tries to make big things that are small and small things that are big. But for the ones who've actually traced the homeschooled children, that after they've been homeschooled and in the age she's talking about, they made a bridge, now they went into this tertiary education. The lecturers there will be like, where were these students? We need students like these because they are well-rounded, they are well-focused, they know how to deliver on things. So having a homeschooled background, there is evidence out there for those who've gone before us that the students out there, they are much brighter, much smarter, and they actually execute these things easier. So if you have children which are younger, even for the children who are being homeschooled now, nothing to panic. Get the foundation right. When you are at that level, even if you go and become an engineer, you are a Christian engineer. Someone who's well-grounded with characters that are upright. So that engineering, the way you will practice it, even whatever challenges you meet along the way, your father and mother had molded you very well in terms of your character. So in short, the true education model is way more superior than the other model. Okay, I'll ask you a simple question. I can take any senior person here and ask them, what is a tree? A simple question like that. What is a tree? And you will struggle to answer me. If I remember very well, even when we were in our education, before that time when Camus was alive, we used to have what we called physical education. But the way it was watered down over the years, it simply became an aerobics. But what the forefathers wanted was that there should be an element of physical education, where there's also this mental education. But the spiritual one, most of these public schools did not have. I went to a missionary school. So we had all three. There was a spiritual education, there was a physical education, and there was the intellectual and mental education. But over the years, the world has said, you know what? Forget the physical. Forget the spiritual. Let's remain with the mental. But it was not so from the beginning. So honestly, if things have watered down like this, we can't be saying now, no, let's go to this lower grade, because we should be scared to teach a child at this level. Let's take it to that low level, because we don't know how they're going to turn out. These students, which are here, and some of them will become will become entrepreneurs and all these things, way bigger and better. So we panic too quickly when you can actually take your child and head cut up to 15 and they still make it in life.
Okay, in the world we are living in, there are accredited colleges that are prioritizing homeschooled children. Back home, you can go to primary school, okay, so-called Group A, primary schools and secondary schools with the white people. In colleges, they disappear. And then you only see them as CEO of this, CEO of that. Where do they go? You probably also maybe you go to universities, your own black people, but okay, in primary and secondary schools, you are with them. Somewhere they vanish into something else, but you go to employment to them. So let's be conscious of the world that we are living in.
I just wanted, maybe it's going to be a testimony. I remember maybe 9 years ago when I met Mr. Ntimoganina. Maranatha was very young by that time. And I would think in my mind, how is this child going to go? How is she going to learn the language and whatnot? Because to me it was just theory. But 9 years down the line, and then I'm seeing the Maranatha that is now 12 years old and the capabilities that she has. I'm not saying that she's there yet, but to me it's also another testimony when I look at my child, because there are fears that, okay, how am I going to train my child? Maybe he's going to be slower than the other children out there. How am I going to balance all the questions that people are going to be asking? Your child is not going to school. They have already started yet, but he's just 1 year, 10 months. They're asking, why are you not sending him to crash? Why are you not doing this? Why are you not doing that? So it's more of a testimony that where there's determination in the mind, you're going to accomplish what you want to accomplish when you've decided in your mind that this is what I'm going to do with the help of the Lord.
Someone asked me, when did your children learn how to speak so well English? I said, it's me and the mother. We're the ones who teach them how to speak English.
Amen. You know, we look down on ourselves.
Okay, thank you for the comments. I think I just want to add a quick one to say that true education concepts helps our children to be useful and relevant from a young age. Unlike the other system where you wait, all these years are years of unusefulness. You then become useful after you have qualified. These years, they are just locked in rooms, study, we want you to pass. That's their life. They don't do home dishes, everything, because they will fail. So it means all these 20-something years, they are just living a useless life. There's no relevancy. So this type of education makes them useful from a young age up to an age they grow up. One thing that we don't take into perspective is we don't know how long we will be with our children. We also don't know how they will be taken from us. Imagine Joseph was taken from his parents at what age? But they've given him a foundation that he was able to run the country. Where did he learn that education?
Not only that, not only Joseph, even Daniel. Yeah, the education in the home can prepare the children for future.
I like the example of Daniel. Daniel went to Babylon, and he went into the University of Babylon. And they changed their names, trying to manipulate their minds to start thinking differently, but they never changed. They stick to the foundation, to the principles that they were taught when they were young. So let's not be afraid when our children grows older and they want to take the route, go to the universities. I'm telling you, train up a child. God never fails. if you have laid the foundation, God is going to take care of your children. Yes, the possibility that the child can go away or can detour and go astray, the possibilities are there. You know, these children, they're not saints. They're not robots, they're not saints. Even if you stay with them, as you bar them from going into the world, if they want to go, they'll go. It's just by the mercy of God that they will continue with what we are teaching them. So we shouldn't be afraid. If we have laid the foundation, leave everything to God. God will take care of them, but we do our part. Lay the foundation and let it flow. If they want to go and do aviation, do medical school and whatever, let them do it.
I think the point here is lay the right foundation. Yes, send them out to the world when you know that you have prepared them, and you don't. I like the part that we don't know when they will leave. Our home will be taken from us. We don't know. Maybe there will be riots here, and we'll be separated with our children.
I think one of the points I always tell my girls to say, as I train you, I don't know the future. I don't know where God is going to lead you, but just have the right things in place. Now, as they grow in the issue of career, they change careers many at times. The common career most kids want to do is medical, but not all of them are medical oriented. So sometimes you might need to guide the child and help them to choose the right career based on how you see them. Not that you're going to force it, but you can tell that this child, even if they want to be a doctor, they can't manage the medical field. They can do other things. So the whole point of the whole tree education thing is that they should not be stuck with the academic accreditation and all that. Because, I mean, in university, 1,000 plus are graduating every single day or every season. But one will get employment out of that whole number. So what you want is that your child should be able to survive without the paper. Now, where the paper comes in is when maybe they're in a foreign country and it requires that, you know what, we need you to have a paper because of how our system works. Then they might need the university to say, just for the sake of the what? Of the paper, for them to get the employment that they want or to pursue whatever they are thinking of doing. But don't allow the mind to be narrow on the accreditation. There are so many ways for one to get a career. And right now we are evolving back to where the world now wants experience than the paper. So focus on building the experience, focus on building the character, focus on all the relevant points of the life that the child needs. And at the end of the day, let God guide and lead and finish all the work for you. Thank you.
Many people who run businesses, they didn't go to school. Do you know that? Yeah, business millionaires, you ask them, they don't have a career because they had the mind how to generate income, and they employ those who have the paper. You see, and at the end of the day, let us teach children that you don't survive because of the paper, but because of what you have, what you know, what you can do, making a business. And when you have a home industry, children can see that you can survive without going anywhere else but here in the home. So you are tuning their minds, né? And one last thing, the children who are homeschooled, they are generally 2 years or more ahead of their peers. You see, they're always ahead, so they are all rounded, as my brother has said. So we should not look down upon this education. Well, my brother, you may still be at the inception. You will understand as time goes on to see how powerful this education is. I was baffled when my children can do this, can say this. I'm like, really, at my age, I could not do these things. And sometimes you just teach the Bible, teach this, and they grasp the concepts, and at this point in time, my children, they are doing a lot of self-study. And I'm like, where do you learn this? No, I read it. Oh, okay. So they learn more by themselves than I teach them. Oh, maybe let's say, oh, today we're going to talk about, oh, mommy, I know it. I read it somewhere there. So sometimes it's pointless, Then I would say, okay, what should we do now? You see, about, especially when it comes to nature. We are done. We've got a cum laude in nature. PhD. So it's powerful. So let us not look down upon this education. It is powerful. May God help us. We'll probably do schedule at maybe tomorrow. Yeah, time is gone. So we'll just look at how you should schedule your school and which ones work better. I'll try and do for each and every age. God bless you. Amen.